Hey, I want to relate an experience that I've literally just had. And the reason I want to do this is not because it was a particularly big deal. It wasn't. But I do think it ties into some of the subjects I've been speaking about recently. And so I just want to talk about it in order to reflect on those issues. So I've just come back from a corner shop getting some milk. Trivial, non-eventful thing, right? And the guy sort of not confronts me, that would be the wrong word, but he sort of asked me if I have a tab, which in the UK means cigarette. I didn't because I don't smoke, at least not regularly. He asked me for the time of the bus. He asked me a few other basic questions. Okay, no big harm in that. But what irritated me was I responded calmly and politely. I was like, no, sorry, I don't know, which was a truthful answer. He asked me the time and all that, just like basic questions. But then I heard him muttering under his breath that I was stuck up and this sort of thing. And it pissed me off because I'm just thinking that, I don't even have to talk to you. You're a total stranger as far as I'm concerned. Um, and the thing is, this has happened to me before where I sort of come across people who, I mean, okay, on the surface, this is really not a big deal. Nothing happened, but this is the sort of person that I think if I'd got into a confrontation, something would have happened. He had a big dog with him, and I think he's the sort of person that definitely would have unleashed the dog, so to speak, had I kind of answered him back or something. In other words, just a sort of arrogant prick that thinks he can go around and get his own way with everything. Um, just pisses me off. I wasn't being stuck up. I was just, you see, we have people in the UK who have no sense of communication, and they do think that they can demand things from total strangers. So I was giving them truthful answers. That I told them what I thought the time was. I didn't know the time of the bus, and I didn't have a tab. I just said, "Oi, mate, can you give me the blah, blah, blah," about one fucking brain cell in his head?" Um, Sorry for the language, but I'm a little bit irritated about it. Anyway, the reason I'm mentioning this is because I made a video recently about street fights, and I think very often these altercations start with something stupid like this. It's a trivial issue. Now, I wouldn't have done anything even if he didn't have his dog. But believe me, I wanted to. I really wanted to crack this guy. I'll be quite blunt about that. Because I can't understand someone who would speak to a total stranger with no respect. I mean, maybe I'm being naive, maybe it's the way he's brought up, all the rest of it. He's about the same age as me, maybe a few years older. Quite a big guy, a bit bigger than me, but, I have hardened a bit in recent years in terms of I try not to get intimidated that easily, but that doesn't mean I'm bravado either and I don't do reckless things. And this is an example. Now, had I kind of stuck up for myself and really answered him back, I think it would have, you know, I wanted to, but I just know he's the sort of guy that would have then set his dog on me. And I just think it's a great pity there's people out there in society who go around thinking they can get their own way just by showing total strangers no respect. My principle is I treat strangers with the benefit of the doubt, i.e., respect, until they give me a reason not to. If someone's rude to me, I'm not going to be polite to them. But I always initiate by being polite to someone because I think it's the adult way to behave. So the moral of this story is that there's pricks out there, and if you live in the UK, you'll know exactly the sort of person I'm talking about. They just disgust me, quite honestly. Um, it's fine. Obviously, I'm not hurt. Nothing's happened, but I have had these situations before, and I have actually been assaulted in the past. So I guess it just brings back memories of that sort of thing. And just anyway, the point I'm making here is that sometimes we need to be the bigger person and walk away. Sometimes we need to see the bigger picture. Now, had I swung at the guy, A, I'd be initiating the violence aspect, and B, he had a dog, so I don't know what he's going to do. I've been in situations whereby when it's just been me, I've walked away. But I've been in situations where I've been with other people, and I find I've had this protective instinct take over. Once in the city where I was studying in Wolverhampton, which is close to Birmingham, about 10 years ago now, I remember a gang confronted us. And to my American viewers, this isn't like sort of Bloods or Crips. I'm not talking that sort of gang. I'm really just talking about a small pack of thugs. But confronted us, demanding money and all that sort of shit. And my friend, female friend actually from Germany, she said she didn't have anything. And when they were questioning me, I was like, well, look, we don't have anything. When they started coming on to her, I immediately sort of went in there. And this girl wasn't like, she wasn't a pushover, but I knew she hadn't had the experience that I had had. And so my instinctive, it wasn't like bravado, it was genuinely instinct took over, and I told them to piss off. Well, in the end, I ended up getting assaulted. Didn't get a dislocated jaw, but it was quite unpleasant. It ended up in a police station. I had to give a statement, all the rest of it. I just think it's a great pity that there's people out there who cannot communicate with others without just, that's the way it is, though. So this is why I really, really, really want to develop my own martial arts and my own sense of control, and just develop myself up. At the moment, I'm going to be completely candid. I'm not a fighter at the moment. I'm not. But I believe that if I focus my mind on it, I believe if I get into a consistent rhythm, if I get the right mentality and the right strategy, I could build myself to a point whereby I'm prepared for stuff like this. And like I said, it's really not that big a deal. Nothing happened. I wasn't assaulted, but I resent anyone thinking they can walk over me like that. And had the guy not had the dog, I almost certainly would have made a bigger issue out of it. But in retrospect, I'm pleased I didn't, because you have to, sometimes in these situations you have to think logically and not with emotions. So I guess that's the point I'm trying to make with this video. You have to think logically and not with emotions. So my emotions were anger, like, how dare this total stranger speak to me that way. Um, But my logic is, if I get in a confrontation with this guy, he'll unleash his dog. Now I can fight a guy, but I can't fight a guy and a dog. Stupid. And this wasn't any dog. It looked like, the sort of fighting breed. So, um, let me know if you've had a similar experience. How did you handle the experience? I'm not going to judge anyone, by the way, so please feel free to be candid. I've been candid. I've been open. I'm only saying this as a matter of discussion. I'll be quite honest. I wanted to smack the guy. But, in the adult world, we can't go around hitting people that we don't like. It doesn't work that way. Um, but if he had got violent, I definitely would have had to do something. But what a prick. Let me know your thoughts. Cheers.